Hi, today we're going to be talking about solving for variables. Remember, variables are the unknown of a problem, like the letter. And today we're going to be talking about input output tables. Listen while I read the I can statement. I can create and use input output rules involving addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division to solve problems. Before we begin, let's talk about what an input output table might look like. Typically, there's two columns. One might be titled in and the other out. What you need to know is that it always moves from left to right, just like when we read. What happens to the in number to get you to the out number? Think about it like a machine. Something is happening to change that number. So while I'm looking at this box, I also notice that written over here is a rule. A rule applies to the entire in and out box. Let's get started by making a prediction. We see that 2 goes in and 6 comes out. As I'm reading this table, I'm noticing that the number is getting bigger. I know that in order for numbers to get bigger, you're either adding or multiplying. So I'm just going to make a guess. Right now, I think to turn 2 into a 6, you either add 4 or you multiply by 3. Over here, I'm just going to make that quick note, multiply by 3 or plus by 4, okay? But we don't know which one is right just yet. We kind of have to look ahead and see how the rest of the table lays out. So now I'm going to go and look at number 5. 5 goes in comes out. Huh, something seems to change. I can't add 4 to 5 to get it to be 15. 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. Let's just double check that that works in this very last spot. The reason I'm skipping 6 right now is because we're going to try and figure out what goes in this box. Which rule applies? Times by 3 or plus by 4? 10 goes in, times 3, 30 comes out. Times 3 seems like it's the rule that makes sense. So, if I'm thinking ahead, I want to fill this blank box. 6 goes in, times by 3. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 comes out. They're kind of fun, actually. Let's go on and try another. You'll notice that this looks similar, but not the same. You have an in and out box, and your job is to find the rule. So I'm going to start in the same way. I start looking at the first inbox. 10 goes in, 5 comes out. Oh, well, I know it's not adding or multiplying because the number got smaller. I know right off the bat that it's either going to be dividing or subtracting. Hmm. Well, I know that 10 divided by 2 gives me 5, and I know that 10 minus 5 gives me 5. So those are my two options. I'm going to look at the next spot and see which rule matches that place on the input-output table. If 12 comes in and 7 comes out, huh, well, 12 divided by 2 is 6, not 7. But 12 minus 5 is 7. Minus 5 works. Let's just double check that it works. Again, I'm going to skip this blank box and go all the way down to the bottom. 16 goes in, 11 comes out. Well, 16 divided by 2 is 8. 16 minus 5 is 11. Sounds to me like the rule for this input-output box is minus 5. So if I'm going to try and figure out what number goes in the blank spot, I'm going to go 14 goes in, minus 5, 9 comes out. Let me highlight that. It gets a little harder, a little more tricky when you add letters. But I want you to think about the same rule. F is your in box and H is your out. So I'm just going to write that underneath here just for you guys to see. In, H is your out. Always reading these boxes from the left column to the right column. Let's think through it. This time, this slide gave us 4 options. Let's try and think of what the rule might be. 5 goes in, 25 comes out. So right off the bat, I know that my 2 options are either plus by 20 or oops, times by 5. That's kind of my thinking. Let's see what fits in all the boxes. 3 goes in, 15 comes out. Well, I know that 3 plus 20 is 23, so that doesn't make sense. But 3 times 5 is 15. All right, the last spot. 10 plus 20 is 30, not 50. 10 times 5 is 50. Looks like times 5 is our rule, but I don't see just times 5 over here. This time, you need to write an equation. We always multiply times the in. So I could say in times 5, or maybe I should call it f times 5. And when it's in that machine, f times 5, it gives me that out box. Or I could call it h. Do you see f times 5 equals h? Check it out. This is the correct answer. Birthday, these can get a little bit tricky. Questions that you need to ask yourself as you're going through today. You need to look left to right. You need to decide, is the out going up or down? If it's going up, you know that it's going to be plus or times. And if it's going down, you know that it's going to be divide or multiply. Sorry, divide or subtract. Okay? Then you can think through them. I always like to come up with 2 guesses and then see what fits in every single box on the in and out table, okay? It must be consistent the whole way through. I can't wait to see what you've learned.